COPWATCH, policing the police every single day.
An Atlanta grandfather says he was left battered and bruised from an encounter with a police officer. The incident was captured on cell phone video. But the South Fulton police chief says there are two sides to this story. He says his officer got physical with the citizen only after the man interfered with an incident that had nothing to do with him. Fox 5's Morris Diggs has the exclusive report from South Fulton.
This Atlanta grandfather sustained numerous injuries from an encounter last week with a police officer from South Fulton.
Get down on the ground right now.
Fox 5 has obtained two videos which we will go over, but first, what started this incident?
I told him I have a right to be a witness to what you're doing to this little girl.
Mr. Carey, an educator who has received acknowledgement from the City of Atlanta for his work, says he stopped in this Walmart parking lot because he felt an officer was being rough and handling a juvenile girl suspected of petty theft.
Went up to the police and asked him, why is he doing that to that little girl? And he said, get out of my face.
Here is one video from an angle that shows the officer attempting to handcuff Mr. Carey, who eventually was taken to the ground. His attorney has filed a complaint.
Regardless of it was trespassing or whatever the case may be, the order to get on the ground, all right, get on the ground for misdemeanor. To get on the ground is unnecessary.
But Keith Meadows, the South Fulton chief, has a video that shows what took place before that takedown.
The individual is actually resisting the officer. He's being combative. You see him throwing fists at the officer, and the officer is attempting to restrain him at this point.
Is that what you all call a fighting stance? That's
a fighting stance. He was basically in a combat stance at that point. And so the officer manages to gain some control here. He has the option of standing and observing, but when you start interjecting yourself into an officer's arrest, it becomes obstruction at that point.
Now, the grandfather, Mr. Carey, told me when he had his arms raised like this, it was to protect himself because he feared the police officer was about to hit him. Coming up at 6, I'm going to talk to the chief about what he's going to do with this young officer out on that scene. Reporting live from South Fulton, I'm Morris Diggs, Fox 5 News.
All right, Morris, thanks.
Watch, cop body slams grandfather after he asked him to stop roughing up a young girl. Video has surfaced of a Georgia cop violently slamming a 66-year-old grandfather to the ground after he asked why the cop was roughing up a 13-year-old girl. By Matt Agarist, August 23, 2018. Atlanta, Georgia. Alfonso Carey is not a criminal. In fact, he is the antithesis of a bad person and has worked and served his community for years, and was even honored by the city for his service. However, this 66-year-old grandfather's dedication to the community was of no consequence to police in South Fulton, Georgia, who were seen on video violently attacking him this week. Carey owns Carey's Center for Mathematics, which tutors children in the Atlanta area in math and has been operating for over 22 years. He has no criminal record. Carey's interaction with police all started last week when he said he witnessed a police officer roughing up a 13-year-old girl in the parking lot of his local Walmart. According to police, the child had been suspected of stealing something from inside the store, so they were placing her under arrest. According to Carey, he approached the officer to ask why he was being so rough with the child, and the officer told him to get out of my face. Carey explained that he persisted and explained to the officer that he had every right to witness what was going on. However, this apparently infuriated the officer, who then turned the interaction physical, according to the grandfather. The incident was captured on two different cell phone videos which were submitted to local news station, Fox 5 Atlanta. As Fox 5 reports, in one of the videos, the disagreement between the officer and Carey became physical. The officer told Carey he would be arrested for interfering in the matter. Carey objected and ultimately the officer took him to the ground. But South Fulton Chief Keith Meadows provided another video of what took place before the takedown. Meadows says it shows restraint used by the officer who made repeated demands for Carey to leave the property. The chief says the video also shows Carey with both hands up in what law enforcement calls a fighting stance. Meadows has launched an internal investigation into the incident. The chief says, from what he sees on the video, as well as statements from witnesses, there is no reason at this time to take the officer off patrol. While police claim that Carey raising his hands was a fighting stance, Carey says he was raising them in self-defense because the cop came at him and he feared the officer was going to hurt him. He was right. Carey suffered multiple abrasions from being thrown to the ground and he was then arrested and brought to jail. Sadly, this is the second such incident in Georgia in only days in which police have caused harm to elderly people. As TFTP reported last week, an innocent 87-year-old great-grandmother was tasered in her chest by police as she collected dandelions in a field behind the Boys and Girls Club in Chatsworth, Georgia. In that case, police defended their decision to taser the innocent woman as well because she couldn't understand them when officers told her to drop the knife she was using to cut the dandelions. Police use who may want to retaliate against him physically.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County COPWATCH, and I just wanted you to know that I am using this stuff under fair use. And also remember to like and subscribe this channel. Also too, keep in mind I do not make any money on YouTube. This is 5 hours work a day, you know, fighting for freedom. And you can donate with PayPal and Patreon. I just want you to think about this. If everybody gives to PayPal and Patreon, Patreon is every month. Actually, PayPal you can do every month. I have 12,000 subscribers. If everybody gives, I can quit my regular job and go full-time investigations on Charlotte County and possibly even more and beyond. So just keep that in mind. If everybody helps out, I can go full-time doing this. Thanks.